Stephen King's Cat's Eye is a 1985 horror anthology film consisting of 3 stories: Quitters, Inc., The Ledge, and General. In this video, I'll give a brief synopsis of the 3 stories, which will be followed by a top 10 list of the best and worst scenes. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe. It really does help me out. These 3 stories are all very different and have nothing in common except that they're tied together by this stray cat, General, who we first meet chasing a butterfly down the street when Cujo attacks him. He flees from Cujo and he's almost run over by Christine. We know it's Christine because... fuck. In the first story, Quitters, Inc., James Woods plays Dick Morrison. He is pretty funny. He enters this clinic by the advice of his friend. As you can see, it looks pretty iffy and he wants out. But Donati comes along and shakes his hand, brings him on into his room. Donati is a mobster. He's from a mob family. They've learned that they can keep people from smoking by using mob tactics. So Donati lays down the law here that if Dick smokes once, they will shock his wife. They shock the cat to show how serious they are. If he smokes again, they'll shock his daughter. If he smokes a 3rd time, they will rape his wife. And if he smokes the 4th time, they'll kill him. They promise 24-hour supervision in the first month and a 98% success rate. 2% are killed, of course. James Woods is hilarious. He's driven nuts and it's great to watch. In The Ledge, we have Robert Hayes, most well known as Ted Stryker from Airplane. He's forced by Crasner, this owner of a casino, an old crime boss type character, to walk across this ledge on this building. Crasner has set him up by planting drugs in his car. Sorry, Stryker.
This is a
no-fly zone. It's a very well filmed scene. It's creepy and it's scary. It gives me them roller coaster chills in my belly. It's a good watch. The last story is General, where the cat fulfills his prophecy, as we'll look more into, and finds Drew Barrymore being stalked by this little gremlin monster. It's quite a scary creature. It hides in her walls and comes out and steals her breath. The only thing that knows about it is the cat, and the cat is trying to kill the damn thing. It's a great watch. It's a good little story. Without any further ado, let's get into the top 10 scenes here. Coming in at 10, we have the cat bed scene where our protagonist, fresh off the boat, is trying to cross the road. Crestor and this gentleman have a war of words, which, I don't know. Listen, it gets pretty funny.
I got 2,000, says he can make it.
You're kidding.
No.
You're on, okay? You say he makes it, I say he's dead.
Yeah, all right.
Okay?
All right.
I can do anything I want.
Sure, go ahead.
You
Yeah,
got it.
talking I. Anybody
All right?
can.
No. I can do anything I want. You don't say a word.
Go ahead,
You
yeah.
got it.
Anybody can do anything they want.
Watch me.
I'm watching.
Come on, kitty. Come here, little kitty. Come on, little kitty. Come on.
Kitty.
Come on.
Come here, kitty.
You're the one whose father was drowning cats, remember?
Come on.
Come on, kitty. Don't worry about these big things. That's special effects. Come on, kitty.
Crestor somehow psychically links with the cat, and they get their timing locked.
Now. Come on, kitty.
He brings him over and wins his $2,000, and that's how the cat and Crestor meet.
Here he is. There he is. Yeah, there's the guy. There's the guy. Look at him.
It's a very well done scene, and I mostly included it because I love the interplay between Crestor and Mystery Gambling Man #1.
I'll take this guy home, get my bowl of milk. I think he just earned it, huh?
Hey, it's for horses. Sometimes for cows. Pigs don't eat it because they don't know how. Come on, kid. Hey! Pigs don't eat it because they don't know how.
Coming in at 9, we have Crestor and Company and their tormentations of Johnny. Cresnor's goon's great here. He's almost got his own number, but he really is not all that important. He punches Johnny, says boingo 3 times, and that's all he gets. Crestor, however, is amazing. He forces Johnny to walk across the ledge on the side of the building here.
The wager I'm proposing is very simple. You walk all the way around, you get the money, and you get my wife. You're crazy. Lose your balance once. That's the bet, Mr. Norris. You get the girl, you get the gold watch, you get everything. Or you get a lot of straight time in Rawway prison.
He's a well-thought-out, well-played old crime boss who, as you can see, just relishes every moment of tormenting his wife's lover. great to watch Kenneth McMillan as Crestor. He's hilarious.
Boingo!
Dick Morrison, James Woods here, is just jonesing all the time for a cigarette, and it's pretty funny to watch. He gets taunted and driven nuts often, which we'll look at later, but here he wakes up in the middle of the night, fiending for a cigarette. He can barely make his way down the stairs without scaring the piss out of himself. He trashes through his desk and eventually does find a cigarette. When he goes to light it, he hears something in the closet.
While investigating,
His golf clubs fall out, scaring the hell out of him. He decides he's being pretty silly and throws this umbrella in the closet, and hears a kind of indicating that there is someone in the closet. He begs and pleads a bit with the supposed intruder before heading back upstairs.
I didn't smoke it. See, if you're in there, would you tell Donati that I didn't smoke it? See, I actually was just coming. Coming, get my golf clubs.
The acid flashback scene is great. James Woods, or Dick Morrison, is at a party where everyone is smoking like it's 1999. As the air becomes more and more dense with secondhand smoke, Dick's sanity becomes less and less stable. He eventually begins having full-on hallucinations.
Have a cigarette. Yeah. No, thanks. No, I'm sorry. I quit.
This isn't helped by the fact that his asshole friend keeps trying to push cigarettes on him. It's an amazing scene, one that's very funny. One weird aspect is that they couldn't get the rights for the Police's Every Breath You Take, so they had a cover band do it. It still works really well, it's just kind of strange. When Donati starts lip-syncing to it, it gets a bit too slapsticky for me, but it's still an amazing scene. One that leads into the bridge scene, and it adds more weight to why he's jonesing so damn hard on that bridge.
Why don't you shove it up your ass, Hal?
What? Lit?
Dick here is really jonesing for a cigarette. He's on this bridge, and it really looks like no one is around. He pulls a cigarette out of the glove box after dropping his head real low and gets lost in the act of smoking it. The bridge raises and traffic moves ahead. A trunk honks, bringing him to his senses. When he raises his head, Donati's guy's looking right at him. He continues smoking his cigarette. Donati's guy races off and Dick chases after him to prevent the electrocution of his wife. These are some really funny scenes, and they're exemplified by the great James Woods.
Hey! Buzz off!
At 7, we have Pokey the Pigeon just poking the crap out of Johnny's ankle. If you know anything about pigeons or you've dealt with them in the past, perhaps you've noticed that they are extremely stupid animals. I, for one, have seen pigeons fight each other over who gets to taste the poop on the ground and spit it out first. The pigeon does almost knock him off a few times, and it does come back and get its revenge, albeit against Crasner. It's a very funny and well-filmed scene, one that is extremely tense and nerve-wracking as it dances into an almost nauseous vertigo. So this extremely intelligent animal continues to poke the shit out of Johnny's swollen ankle after Johnny has found a ledge to rest on. Obviously, with full balance, Johnny kicks the shit out of him.
Try this, you lying shithouse.
At number 6, we have the epic journey of the cat. In the very beginning, we find him chasing a butterfly before being chased by an insanely docile and calm Cujo, and almost run down by Christine, the original self-driving car. The cat hides from Cujo in this truck and makes his way to New York City, where this arc of finding various girls that look like or are Drew Barrymore representing the final incarnation of Drew Barrymore, which is supposedly being stalked, keeps asking this cat for help. None of that is really explained, this psychic link, but it's fine. The character development is actually quite good overall, considering this is a collection of 3 stories. He's picked up here by Donati's main guy, where they electrocute him and use him for all kinds of bad stuff.
Nice little pussy cat, yeah.
You can save each other the pound, yeah.
He breaks out when James Woods beats the crap out of Donati's main man and Donati chucks Woods across the table there.
Fiddly sticks.
He then hitches a ride on a boat, which is a great scene.
He ends up in Atlantic City eating some bum's hot dog. He finds himself watching a commercial where another Drew Barrymore girl has dressed up a cat as a baby and is feeding it some
gobbler time,
where they continue the arc of "You are my only chance, please fulfill the prophecy."
It's still looking for me. You've got to get back and find it. You're my only chance. You're my only chance.
The cat ends up trying to cross the street, as we saw in number 10, and meets Crestor. Crestor takes him in, and he escapes Crestor's domicile when Crestor kicks his wife's head across the floor to Johnny. He races down the stairs and watches Crestor fall from the building, but we'll show that in a minute. He hitches a ride on a train, then in the back of a truck where he witnesses this little gremlin running into Drew Barrymore's house.
As predicted in the prophecy.
This little gremlin is running into her house in front of everyone, but only the cat sees him. He races into the house with the cat chasing right after. He enters her room and somehow he's already snuck inside the walls when the cat arrives. See the cat looking at the wall there? That's actually scary as hell. That little fucker has hidden in the walls within seconds of entering the house. I mean, he enters your house, he enters the walls, and then you gotta deal with him. That's worse than fleas, bed bugs. Fuck this little guy, you're gonna have to get a cat. So the cat isn't having any of that. He runs under the bed, and in my opinion, he starts to wait to kill the gremlin. He's gonna get that little fucker. But Mom comes in, she doesn't want the cat. Drew Barrymore wants the cat. That becomes the continuing plot arc that the cat is trying to break in at night and save Drew Barrymore from the little gremlin. And the mom always thinks the cat is going to kill the bird. And she uses that as her justification to keep such a cute, cuddly, and obviously non-violent fluffball from her daughter. Barrymore assures her that General, as she has named him, would never hurt a bird. Coming in at 5, we have the death of Crasner.
$5 million, huh? I'll give you anything you want, huh?
Johnny gets the upper hand on Crestor and makes him cross the balcony himself. Crestor, of course, can't handle the stress. Pokey the Pigeon shows up for his revenge, and Crestor cracks completely under the pressure. He just can't manage the pain and keep his balance going and make his way to that ledge like Johnny did, where he could kick the shit out of Pokey and teach it a lesson that it would never learn. Instead, he loses his balance and gets chucked. It kind of looks like he turns into a ninja here, which is really strange. Maybe he should have turned into a ninja before he fell. That might have helped out. A ninja could just climb up that building like Spider-Man. Okay, weird choice of colors there. It's still filmed well, it still looks great, and he does have a really good death scream. He does a little dance, drops to the bottom, and lands right on his horn that he used to honk at Johnny. It's a very well-filmed scene and very satisfying after Crasner's given Johnny so much shit to see him drop to his death. Coming in at 4, we have the final battle between General and the little gremlin monster that he has been dealing with. They already faced off once, and General, although wounded, was the victor. Here General's been sent to the pound by the mother after the first battle resulted in a dead bird in a strewn-asunder room. General breaks free from his euthanasia date, races through the storm, breaks in through the chimney, and proceeds to beat the shit out of the little gremlin man. It's a pretty weirdly filmed scene, to be honest, full of silly action and ridiculous fighting. At one point, the cat is actually hit with a marble and a crayon. It doesn't look like he's hurt, but look at that in slow-mo. They hit that poor cat with a crayon. Eventually, General knocks this little bitch up onto the record machine, and since he and Drew Barrymore have a psychic connection and/or he's just extremely intelligent, when Drew tells him to speed up the record player, he does. This chucks the little gremlin into the fan where he's pulverized into a pile of gore. Drew Barrymore's dad finds a G.I. Joe knife and realizes that his daughter must have been telling the truth. Look, a G.I. Joe knife, it's all real. Something he's been wondering ever since finding a G.I. Joe-sized hole in his cat's shoulder. General's rewarded with a whole fish. We're led to believe he ate all of that. And the movie reaches its ending as General fulfills his ultimate prophecy, saving Drew Barrymore and finding a new forever home. The T-Fall. Well, firstly, I must admit I'm a sucker for heights, so the whole ledge scene is pretty creepy to me. It's pretty jarring. When the T dislodges and drops him, it's just great. He battles his way back, of course, as Crestor watches in dismay. It's an extremely well-filmed scene and well-thought-of addition to the ledge. It simply looks great. The bright red letters against the black and gray. Stressful.
Horrific. Very well done.
At number 2, we have the electrocution scenes. First, the scene with the cat, where Donati electrocutes the cat to show Dick what will happen to his wife. It does make me wonder how they achieved this, as the cat does look legitly stressed and trying to escape. It gets quite hilarious as they play music and splice the cat movements into a semi-dance. The wife scene is better than the cat's. After Wood is busted on the bridge, they force him to watch as they electrocute his wife. It's a well-filmed and hilarious scene. It's hilarious to watch her bounce around as they jam out to some music. It is a lot more funny than scary, but it gets the point across. The pleasure of the two mobsters is quite obvious. Although Donati plays it like a true pro and hides his satisfaction even from his goon. Two thumbs completely electrocuted. Good scene. Coming in an honorable mention, we have the Little Gremlin man. Look at this little guy. He's dressed like a jester. He looks pretty stupid, but if you look how he's dressed in brown and he even has a little feather there. It's supposed to look cute, I'm sure. It's not. It's camouflage. He came from a brown and green territory. Look when he runs up. He's looking for children's breath to steal, and he's smart enough to put a leaf in his head there, a little green number to camouflage himself. That's creepy. At the same time, he's got bells on his dangles there, and that's just idiocy. So it's kind of a stupid costume in that he's really thought out his camouflage, and that's really smart. Then he put bells on his head, so he's gonna ding and make noise as he comes up. Historically, we do have a lot of traditions, a lot of fairy tales, a lot of stories about little monsters or big monsters or demons or what have you, killing children. And then we have specifically sleep paralysis, the old hag syndrome, the succubus and the incubus. This is obviously a lot of background for this little creature. As he sits on her chest and sucks her breath out, it very much looks like a lot of these old classic works of art depicting the old hag syndromes and the incubus and succubus attacks. This guy is based on actual stories and actual tales.
Gonna get down to it or not?
Yes, of course. In fact, we've already started getting down to it.
At 1, we have Dr. Vinny Donati himself, played by Alan King. Alan does an amazing job. He easily slides in and out of pure slapstick mixed with a completely serious gangsterized tone. His take on the material is great.
Hey, I'll send the guy to your house and cut off your wife's little finger.
Etc. It's delivered in such a way that it's not only hilarious, it's horrifying. He's cuckolded James Woods into giggling about them cutting his wife's finger off.
Now I'm setting your maximum weight at 165 pounds.
You kill me.
What, then, like if I go over, you'll send a guy to my house with a flamethrower or something? You kill me.
No, hey, I'll send the guy to your house and cut off your wife's little finger.
You kill me. Have a good day. Take it easy, huh? Cut off my wife's little finger.
We find out he is serious at the end of Quitters Inc. when James Woods proposes a toast, and we see that his friend's wife has no pinky. And yeah. Guy is the real deal. He's your best friend. He takes his job seriously. But if you fuck up hard enough, he will kill you. It's a small scene, but Donati is exemplified in this moment. This moment transcends the B/A-ish quality of this movie and moves it into the realm of genius. It'll live on forever in the hearts of schlock connoisseurs and B-movie hunters.
Do you have cigarettes with you?
Was a bear shit in the woods?
May I have them, please?
Donati's destruction of Dick's cigarettes is the most golden moment possible. Alright, if you made it this far, thank you so much. If you can't tell, I really like this movie. I liked it as a kid, and it was a great surprise to see that decades later, it still very much holds its weight. If you're an 80s schlock lover, do yourself a favor and track down a copy now. If you're anyone else, I still recommend this to you. If you're not so much a horror film fan, then you know. This is not so much a horror film as a weird kid-friendly scary story tied together by two insanely original crime-type mob stories. This is by far one of the best Stephen King movies of the 80s, and perhaps it rests with the all-time best King movies. I am biased, having a fear of heights, but the originality in the script for Quitters Inc. alone carves this film out as one of the all-time greats for me. If you hate horror or crime movies or Stephen King movies, well, I don't know why you are watching this, but in that case, skip this movie. In all other cases, if you're still breathing, give this one a shot. Again, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I am extremely small at this point, so every like and subscribe is beyond golden to me. Please do me a favor and hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any videos in the future, and I will be back with more.